Taehyung had secretly been watching the changes that were taking place between Jungkook and Jimin for a long time. In a closed-door training session a few weeks before their departure for the military, V was once seen walking out of a room with a dark, barely smiling face. Some of the staff asked him if he felt tired, but the answer he gave shook them. "I'm more tired of watching two people I love so much pretend to be unharmed." What really happened between the three? And why is everything now revealed amid the military situation and tensions over BTS's future? According to reliable sources from within HYB's immediate environment, there was one incident that triggered a major change in their dynamics. One night, before Jungkook's military departure, the three of them, Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung, gather at their old rehearsal studio in Gangnam. No schedules, no cameras, just the three of them. It was supposed to be a night of nostalgia, but it turned into a night of tears. Taehyung, in a conversation with a senior staff member, referred to the night as confession night. Confessions of what? As it turns out, Jungkook finally said something that he has kept since promoting Jimin's solo album. "I feel abandoned, but I dare not say, because if I talk, I'm afraid to ruin everything." Jimin was said to be staring blankly at the wall when he heard that sentence. It does not argue. He didn't cry. It just says slow, "I know." The exchange was not just an ordinary complaint. It is a sign that their wounds are much deeper than they seem. That solo project, corporate pressure, and dream road differences have made them step in different directions while remaining on the same stage. And Taehyung? He sat among them, being a witness, unable to unite his two once inseparable friends. It just says, "If you leave, at least let us know. Don't let us keep hoping." So what does go mean? Some leaked internal documents suggest that Jimin and Jungkook have held private meetings with HYB's management regarding the possibility of forming a subgroup unit, or even the possibility of leaving BTS's main label and forming a new, more independent structure after the military period ends. The document titled Post-Military Strategy, JKJM Structure, appeared in the internal system, and although it has not been officially confirmed, some terms in it indicate a separation of their promotional agenda from the main BTS. Does that mean they're going to break? Or just rebranding? No one knows for sure, but one thing is now clear. There is a real tension that even imaging cannot mask. The army, which has always been a shield and home for all members, must now be faced with an emotional choice. Will they accept Jungkook and Jimin's decision if they choose their own path? And what does all this mean for BTS's survival as a group? Not a few soldiers reacted with anger, confusion, and fear. Many felt this was the beginning of a permanent split. "If they leave, BTS will no longer be BTS," wrote one fan in the Weverse community. "But if they persist in their compulsion, we hurt them more than anyone." Another wrote, in a limited question and answer session before enlistment, Jimin had said a sentence that now feels like a code. "Sometimes, in order to find ourselves, we must dare to lose what we care about most." The sentence was not understood then. But now that it's all been revealed, Army wonders, was Jimin referring to himself, or his friendship with Jungkook? And what exactly was Jungkook hiding all this time? According to one insider, very close to BTS creative team, Jungkook turned down several major collaboration projects last year not out of exhaustion, but because of the complicated emotional situation between him and Jimin. He feels that going through a project together will be a burden, not a good memory like it used to be. "I don't want to sing a song with him if I feel like I'm lying every time I look at him," Jungkook said in a team discussion that has now become a source of heat inside HYB. This prompted Jim to leave the room. And from that moment on, everything that happened looked more like a formality than true togetherness. But the most shocking thing was Taehyung's actions a few days after the incident. He wrote a handwritten note, which was then accidentally scattered by one of HYB's photographers who photographed his exercise table. "If their departure means they can be happy, I will support. But if their departure is a form of escape, I will detain them with all I have. Because we're not just a group. We are each other's home. And this house is slowly collapsing." The phrase is now viral. And from that, we know V does not stand still. He knew something was broken. And he tries to fix it in the most painful way possible, exposing the truth. Now ARMY is faced with the toughest puzzle in fandom's history. What is more important, a wounded togetherness, or an honest and healing separation? And HYB. To this day, they remain silent. But their time is running out. Because if they don't talk soon, the ARMY will demand answers. Not from the company, but from the hearts of the members they've loved unconditionally. Then, the most painful question remains hanging. Will Jimin and Jungkook really leave BTS? And if yes, are ARMY hearts ready to lose more than just music? Since the video was leaked, fans around the world have begun to do something more than speculate. They begin to collect small pieces that were previously overlooked, changes in attitude, ambiguous statements, to silent expressions recorded behind a smile. One of the most talked about moments is when Jungkook suddenly burst into tears during their last concert before serving in the ARMY. That time, many thought that crying was just an emotional outburst due to a temporary separation. But after the video of Taehyung's statement appeared, many began to see it differently. His cry was like someone holding a weight that can't be shared, one ARMY member wrote in a long viral thread. And when he looked at Jimin before the stage went out, now I get it, it wasn't an ordinary look. It was like a goodbye. What exactly has Jungkook been holding back all this time? And why did Taehyung say that Jimin doesn't deserve to be blamed? The word betrayed became a word that began to appear a lot in ARMY conversations. Not because the members hurt them, but because they felt they had believed a picture that turned out to be not entirely real. There's a wound inside BTS. An invisible wound, but slowly cracking the foundations of this group. In one recording session in the past, which was recently re-uploaded by fans, there was a moment when Jimin chuckled when asked if he and Jungkook would continue to do projects together after the military. But the laughter now sounded bitter. We'll see. Jungkook has a lot of thoughts that don't necessarily suit me, she said, taking her eyes off him. That time, everyone laughed at him. Now, not anymore. An internal source from the production environment mentioned that Jimin had experienced severe mental exhaustion after a solo tour and repeated comebacks before enlistment. During that period, he and Jungkook did not communicate for more than 3 weeks. There was no big fight, the source said, but there was a very deep burnout. They are like two people who no longer speak the same language. However, what is surprising is not the fact that they are moving away, but who is secretly trying to fix everything. Taehyung, behind all his mysterious personality and is often considered do not care, it turns out he was the most hurt to see the cracks of two people he considers as his own sister. And when asked why he finally decided to speak, his answer was simple but striking: because they love the ARMY too much to be honest. The statement opened the door to new thinking. Could it be that Jungkook and Jimin have been considering parting ways not because they hate the group, but because they don't want to disappoint fans by carrying a burden they can no longer hide? Some Korean entertainment analysts began to speculate. They mentioned that most likely, HYB had known about this tension long before the fans. In fact, there is a high possibility that the mass solo project plan that was once echoed is just a form of soft transition if Jungkook and Jimin's decision not to return as an active part of BTS really happens. However, HYB's strategy this time did not seem to go smoothly. Taehyung's video leaked. The ARMY began to speak. And now, the pressure comes not only from the inside, but also from the outside. A former BTS producer who has worked for 5 years said that Taehyung would never talk like that if it wasn't really urgent. But if he's made it this far, it means he's more serious than we thought. Meanwhile, Jungkook has yet to give any statement. Not through Weverse. Not through the media. Not through private messages to the ARMY as usual. And that's what makes all this even more worrying. Jungkook, who used to be so open, is now completely silent. And Jimin, sources mentioned that he several times canceled non-military schedules for personal reasons. Even at a special rehearsal session for the Reunion 2025 project, he was reportedly absent for 2 days without giving detailed explanations. Are the two considering a quiet breakup? Are they waiting for the green light from HYB? Or are they fighting with themselves, questioning everything they've ever fought for? Taehyung, in a voice note to a fellow idol that was later leaked to the Korean media, mentioned, "I don't want them to make decisions out of guilt. But I also don't want the ARMY to just look at the end result without knowing the pain behind it." And the pain is now plastered. Not just in Taehyung's normally calm face, but in the entire BTS ecosystem that slowly turned silent. In the near future, HYB is scheduled to Ano. That night, in one of the HYB building's deepest rehearsal rooms, the room lights were left dim. The camera was turned off long ago, but someone from the documentation team forgot to unplug the voice recorder. What is recorded is not just a tired sigh after training, but words that make the hairs stand on end. "If you keep quiet, you will lose him," Taehyung said in a whisper, but firmly. "It wasn't me who pushed him away," Jungkook replied. The sound is heavy, tired, as if the weight of the world was on his back. "I just don't want him to get hurt again." And HYB knows that. To those who hear it, it feels like a ticking time bomb. And for the first time, Taehyung looks genuinely disappointed, not at HYB, not at the situation, but at his own best friend. "Do you think he didn't know you were moving away for that reason?" exclaimed Taehyung. "Jimin is not a child, Jungkook. He can see you avoiding him, and it hurts more than anything." There was a long pause, the sound of feet moving slowly. "Someone sit down," he once said. Jungkook's voice was quiet, barely audible. He said, "If you keep dodging, I'll feel like I'm failing as your best friend." And that's where the breaking point starts to show. It's not about leaving the group. It's not just about contracts or management pressure, but about wounds that have not been healed, about words that have never been spoken, and about feelings of guilt that continue to gnaw silently from within. Jimin, known for his warm smile, has long kept the burden in silence. While the public praised him for his courage to go solo, no one knew that behind it all, he also wondered if he still had a place in the center of the circle they used to call home. I asked this what Taehyung meant by Jungkook's biggest secret? That Jungkook has been drifting away, not because of conflict, but because of guilt. Because of a past incident that continues to haunt them both. Several longtime BTS staff members revealed that prior to enlistment, there were closed-door meetings between BTS members and management. There, major decisions are being considered. Jimin and Jungkook were given the choice to continue the duet project after the draft, or pursue a solo career entirely, and this is where the biggest dilemma rises. What does it mean to stay together when the heart is no longer together? Internal sources said that Jimin directly rejected the duet's decision. The reason? He felt that their relationship had not healed. He felt that standing together on stage, with a fractured relationship, would actually hurt more people, especially ARMY, who had always believed in their bond. Jungkook chose to remain silent. Did not refuse, did not approve. He just said, "I'll think again." And since that day, their communication has been strained. HYB, of course, couldn't force anything. But time went on and public pressure began to increase. All waiting for the news of the post-military reunion. Everyone wants to see the miracle come back to life. But no one knew that behind the scenes, the two souls, who had been the closest, were facing an abyss that they themselves did not know how to cross. Taehyung, who was in the middle of the two of them, couldn't stand it. He saw Jimin shy away from the training session. He saw Jungkook refusing to answer the call. He sees the two people he loves as family. It was destroyed slowly because no one dared to tell the truth. They were too busy protecting each other, forgetting that they could talk. Taehyung told one of his close friends outside the industry, and maybe this is the moment when everything starts to change, because not long after the video leak spread, social media exploded. The hashtags #Jungkook Tell the Truth and #We Support Jimin were trending within hours. ARMY begins to dig back into all of their past interactions, looking for clues that could explain the two's changing attitudes. Have there been any signs of separation since then? Is all this just an explosion of accumulated old wounds? Some fans reminded about Jimin's comeback moment last year. "Some days I feel like I've lost someone very important, but he's not completely gone." A lot of people thought he was talking about family. But now, it sounded like a cry of the heart that could not be heard. And Jungkook? He also once wrote a message on the official platform with ambiguous words. "If I leave, don't blame anyone. I just need honesty." Now, everything feels interconnected, too real to ignore. But until now, HYB still chooses silence. No clarification, no press conference. Even the other BTS members RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, also did not give any statements.